Stop this now! How dare you?
What if the man your daughter loves isn't who he seems? Watch as a billionaire father disguises himself as a poor junk collector to expose the shocking truth about his future son-in-law. You won't believe what happens next. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories, and comment below your thoughts on who you think passed the ultimate test. Chief Adewale was one of the most respected billionaires in Lagos, Nigeria. His empire stretched across oil, real estate, and international investments. But he was not just known for his wealth. He was known for his sharp mind and ability to see through people's intentions. For years, he had worked hard, building his fortune from the ground up, and he knew exactly how people could pretend when money was involved. His only daughter, Amara, was the jewel of his life. Beautiful, intelligent, and kind-hearted, she had grown up surrounded by privilege but raised with humility. Amara was now in her late 20s, and she had recently introduced a man into the family's circle, Kunle. Kunle was tall, stylish, and carried himself with the confidence of someone who knew the world was watching him. He was charismatic, always smiling, and had a way of speaking that made people believe he was born to lead. On the surface, he seemed like the perfect match for Amara. Respectful, ambitious, and deeply affectionate. But deep in his heart, Chief Adewale felt something was off. It wasn't that Kunle was rude or careless. No, he had done everything right in the eyes of the public. He brought flowers, spoke politely, and even tried to impress Chief Adewale with business talk. Yet there was a heaviness in the old man's chest. He had seen men like Kunle before, men who chased wealth through the hearts of unsuspecting women. The engagement was only a few days away. The entire Adewale mansion buzzed with activity as decorators, caterers, and family members prepared for what was expected to be the grandest engagement of the year. Amara glowed with excitement. Her friends teased her about how lucky she was to have found a man like Kunle. "He adores you," they whispered. "You're going to be the happiest bride in Lagos." But Chief Adewale couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. Late at night, while everyone else slept, he sat in his massive study, surrounded by leather-bound books and the quiet hum of the city outside his window. He thought of his wife, who had passed years ago, and how she always told him, "When it comes to Amara, protect her heart the way you protect your empire." That night, he made a decision. He would not allow his daughter to walk blindly into marriage with a man whose heart he could not trust. He needed to test Kunle, to see his true face before it was too late. The next morning, a secret plan began to form in Chief Adewale's mind. He would disguise himself as someone Kunle would never recognize, a poor junk collector. If Kunle truly loved Amara and respected people regardless of their status, his character would shine through. But if Kunle was nothing more than a gold digger in polished shoes, then the truth would be revealed before the engagement. Chief Adewale smiled to himself as he looked at the mirror, imagining the ragged clothes, the dirty cap, and the wheelbarrow he would soon push down the streets of Lagos. "Yes," he whispered. "Let's see who this man really is." The test had just begun. The sun rose over Lagos with its usual chaos, car horns blaring, street vendors shouting, and the smell of roasted corn mixing with the city dust. But inside Chief Adewale's private quarters, something unusual was happening. The billionaire stood in front of a long mirror, not dressed in his usual Italian suits, but in tattered trousers and a faded shirt that looked like it had been dragged through the mud. He had asked one of his most trusted old workers to secretly bring him the kind of clothes worn by junk collectors in the slums. His polished shoes were replaced with worn-out sandals, and his face, once clean and dignified, was smeared with dirt and ash to hide his smooth, well-kept skin. When he finally put on a ragged cap and picked up a rusty wheelbarrow filled with old tins and scraps of metal, even he could barely recognize himself. The transformation was shocking. The mighty billionaire of Lagos now looked like just another man forgotten by society. "Perfect," he muttered under his breath, a grim smile tugging at his lips. "Now let's see how Kunle behaves when he thinks no one important is watching." Chief Adewale carefully left his mansion through the back gate, unnoticed by his staff and family. He pushed the wheelbarrow into the bustling streets where real junk collectors roamed. The smell of sweat and exhaust filled the air. Children laughed and pointed at him, thinking he was just another poor man trying to survive the harsh Lagos streets. By mid-afternoon, he made his way toward the neighborhood where Kunle lived. Unlike the slums, Kunle's street was clean, lined with modern apartments, flashy cars, and security guards at every corner. It was the kind of place where appearances mattered more than reality. Chief Adewale positioned himself at the entrance of Kunle's compound, pretending to be sorting through some scrap. His plan was simple: cross paths with Kunle in a way that would test his character. And as fate would have it, Kunle soon appeared. Dressed in a crisp white kaftan and designer loafers, Kunle walked out of the building with two of his friends. They were laughing loudly, talking about the upcoming engagement. Kunle's voice rose above the others as he bragged. "Amara is my ticket to a life most men only dream of. Her father's wealth? Untouchable. Once I marry her, I'm set for life." The words stabbed Chief Adewale like a knife. He froze, gripping the handles of his wheelbarrow tightly. His suspicion was true. Kunle wasn't just in love. He was hunting for power and riches, but Chief Adewale wasn't ready to reveal himself yet. No, he needed to push Kunle further. He deliberately stumbled forward, dropping a bundle of rusty tins near Kunle's polished shoes. Kunle's face twisted with disgust. "Are you blind, old man?" he snapped, kicking one of the tins away. "Why are you even here? People like you shouldn't be allowed near decent places like this." His friends laughed, mocking the disguised billionaire. One of them even pulled out his phone to record, joking, "See this useless junk man disturbing us. Lagos is full of these beggars." Chief Adewale kept his head down, acting humble. "Please, sir, I'm sorry. I did not mean to disturb you. I am only trying to survive." Kunle sneered, waving his hand dismissively. "Get out of my sight before I call security. Don't let me see your filthy face here again." For a moment, Chief Adewale felt anger burn in his chest. If only Kunle knew who he was insulting. But the old man reminded himself, this was only the beginning. He needed more proof, and he needed his daughter to see it with her own eyes when the time came. As Kunle strutted away with his friends, laughing at his own cruelty, Chief Adewale whispered under his breath, "Very well. The real test will come at the engagement. Then everyone will know who you truly are." The trap had been set. The next morning, Lagos buzzed with the energy of the approaching engagement. Families, friends, and even social media bloggers were already talking about the wedding of the year. Amara's. Pictures with Kunle had gone viral. Her glowing smile and his confident pose made them look like the perfect couple. But Chief Adewale's heart was heavy. Dressed once again in his junk collector disguise, he returned to Kunle's neighborhood. His plan wasn't only to test Kunle in private, but to push him in public, to see how he treated people when others were watching. By midday, Kunle stepped out again, this time alone, wearing a sharp suit with gold cufflinks. He carried himself like a man ready for royalty, his phone glued to his hand as he barked orders to someone on the other side of the line. Chief Adewale seized the moment. He staggered toward Kunle, dragging his wheelbarrow with exaggerated effort. Then, pretending to collapse, he let the heavy scrap spill onto the ground near Kunle's feet. Kunle almost tripped, his polished shoes catching on a piece of rusty metal. "God punish you," he yelled, grabbing the old man by the collar. "Are you mad? Do you know how much these shoes cost?" People nearby turned to look. A few shop owners peered from their stalls. Some even laughed at the sight of the junk man being scolded. Chief Adewale bowed his head, his voice weak. "I'm sorry, sir. I have not eaten since yesterday. I was only trying to move my things. Please forgive me." Kunle's eyes narrowed. He glanced at the onlookers, clearly embarrassed, then shoved the disguised billionaire to the ground. "Hold, fool! Stay out of my way. You poor rats should know your place," the crowd murmured at Kunle's harshness. A woman selling fruits hissed loudly. "Ah! Fine boy, but no heart. So wicked." Chief Adewale lay there, his hands trembling. Not from weakness, but from rage he struggled to hide. Every insult confirmed his fears. Kunle had no compassion, no humility. He was a wolf wearing silk. But just then, something unexpected happened. From across the street, Amara appeared holding a small shopping bag. She had come to surprise Kunle before the evening's family dinner. Her eyes widened as she saw her fiancé towering over the frail junk collector, anger flashing in his eyes. "Kunle!" she called out, rushing forward. "What are you doing?" Kunle froze, the blood draining from his face. Quickly, he stepped back and forced a fake smile. "Ah, Amara, my love, this useless old man tripped in front of me. I was only trying to help him stand up." Amara frowned, suspicious, but her heart wanted to believe him. She turned to the junk collector, who was still on the ground. "Papa, are you all right? Did he hurt you?" Chief Adewale, still in disguise, raised his head slowly. His daughter's voice was soft, filled with concern. For a moment, he almost broke character, almost wanted to hug her and tell her the truth, but he held himself back. "No, my daughter," he said weakly. "I am fine." "God bless you for asking." Amara helped him up, brushing the dust off his shirt. Kunle forced a laugh, placing his hand on Amara's shoulder. "See, my dear, I was only trying to remove him from the road. You know how these street men behave." But the look in Amara's eyes told Chief Adewale she wasn't fully convinced. She gave the old man one last sympathetic glance before allowing Kunle to lead her away. As the couple disappeared down the street, Chief Adewale clenched his fists tightly. He had seen enough. Kunle had failed the test once, but soon he would make him fail in front of everyone, including Amara. "This engagement," he whispered to himself, "will reveal the truth." And with that, the stage was set for the most dramatic confrontation yet. The Adewale mansion was glowing with life. Every corner of the estate was filled with decorators, florists, and chefs rushing about, preparing for the grand engagement. Expensive chandeliers glittered, golden drapes swayed with the evening breeze, and musicians rehearsed softly in the garden. It was meant to be a fairy tale event, the union of wealth, beauty, and status. But while everyone else buzzed with excitement, Amara sat quietly in her room, staring into the mirror. Her mind was restless. She couldn't shake the image of Kunle scolding that frail junk collector the day before. Something about the way his voice had cracked with anger and the cruelty in his eyes unsettled her deeply. Her best friend, Chika, entered with a wide smile. "Amara, what are you doing sitting there like a widow? Today is your day. In a few hours, the whole of Lagos will celebrate you and Kunle." Amara forced a smile. "I know, Chika, but yesterday I saw Kunle lose his temper. He was so harsh to that poor man. And when I asked him, he lied. He said he was helping, but I saw the truth in his eyes." Chika frowned, sitting beside her. "My friend, are you doubting Kunle now? After all these months?" "I don't know," Amara whispered, her eyes watering. "I love him, but what if my father is right? He still hasn't given his full blessing. And you know my father? He sees things others don't." Meanwhile, downstairs, Chief Adewale was speaking quietly with one of his most loyal aides. He had kept his disguise hidden carefully, but the weight of his secret grew heavier by the minute. The aide asked nervously, "Sir, are you certain about this plan? The engagement is a family affair. If you expose Kunle here, it will be chaos." "That is exactly the point," Adewale replied firmly. "Better chaos today than a lifetime of misery for my daughter. Let everyone see Kunle's true face." As the sun began to set, cars lined up outside the mansion. Influential politicians, businessmen, celebrities, and pastors all arrived, dressed in their finest attires. The grand hall shimmered with crystal lights as waiters carried trays of champagne. Amara descended the staircase in a golden dress, her beauty captivating everyone in the room. Guests clapped, women whispered admiration, and Kunle, waiting at the bottom of the stairs, stretched out his hand with his perfect smile. To everyone watching, they looked like the perfect couple. Kunle kissed Amara's hand gently, whispering, "Tonight we begin forever." But Chief Adewale, standing among the guests in his tailored agbada, felt his chest tighten. He had seen too much of Kunle's darkness to let this night pass without exposing the truth. Amara's uncles and aunts danced happily. Money sprayed in the air as Yoruba drummers filled the room with rhythm. Laughter and cheer echoed everywhere. Yet, for Adewale, this was not just an engagement party. This was the battlefield where his daughter's future would be decided. Upstairs, in the quiet of her room before being called to the stage, Amara clasped her hands together and prayed softly, "God, if there is anything hidden from me, show me tonight. Do not let me walk blindly into a marriage I will regret." Unbeknownst to her, her prayer was about to be answered in the most shocking way possible. The engagement hall sparkled with luxury. Golden chandeliers bathed the guests in warm light, the air thick with perfume, laughter, and the rhythmic beat of Yoruba talking drums. On the main stage, Kunle and Amara sat like royalty, smiling at the flood of guests who came forward to spray money, offer congratulations, and take pictures. Everywhere, people whispered about how perfect they looked together. The beautiful daughter of a billionaire and her charming fiancé. Kunle basked in the attention, his pride swelling with each handshake and praise. He leaned over to one of his friends seated nearby and muttered, "Just look at this. This is only the beginning. Once I'm fully in, no one can stop me." But Chief Adewale wasn't smiling. He sat quietly among the elders, his face calm but his mind sharp as a blade. The moment had come. Tonight, the truth would be revealed. Suddenly, the hall's heavy wooden doors creaked open. Heads turned. Into the glittering, polished room stepped a figure that seemed wildly out of place. A dirty, ragged junk collector pushing a wheelbarrow with rusted tins and scraps. Gasps filled the air. Some women covered their noses. A few men scowled in disgust. "What is this nonsense?" One of Kunle's uncles barked. "Who allowed this beggar inside such an event?" The man pushed forward slowly, head bowed, his clothes filthy, sandals broken, and his cap hiding most of his face. The hall erupted into murmurs. Guests whispered angrily, "How dare someone like this walk into a billionaire's engagement?" Kunle shot to his feet, furious, his perfect smile gone in an instant. "Get this wretched man out of here," he shouted, pointing directly at the junk collector. "Security, where are you? Remove this trash immediately." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. The drummers stopped. Even Amara froze in shock, her heart pounding. The junk collector stumbled closer to the stage, clutching his chest. In a weak voice, he said, "Please, sir, I am hungry. I only came to ask if I can take leftover food, even crumbs from your table." The hall went silent. For a brief second, some guests felt pity, but Kunle's face twisted with rage. "You dare insult me and my family in front of these people?" he barked. He stormed down the stage, grabbed the junk collector by the arm, and shoved him so hard that the man fell against the wheelbarrow. Gasps turned into outrage. Amara jumped up. "Kunle, stop this!" she cried, rushing toward them. But Kunle wasn't finished. He shouted loudly, his voice echoing through the hall. "This is exactly why people like me hate Lego street rats. You think you can walk into a place meant for kings and queens? You have no worth. You're nothing but filth." The junk collector stayed on the floor for a moment, silent. Then slowly, very slowly, he began to rise. He reached up, grabbed the edge of his cap, and pulled it off. The hall erupted in screams and gasps. It was not a poor man. It was Chief Adewale. The billionaire's face was stern, his eyes burning with fury. He stood tall, his disguise falling away piece by piece, and spoke in a voice that carried across the hall. "So this is the man who claims to love my daughter." A pin could have dropped in the silence that followed. Guests stood frozen, mouths open. Amara's eyes widened as tears welled up. She turned to Kunle, her heart breaking, realizing what had just happened. Kunle's face went pale. He stammered, "Sir, I didn't know it was you." Chief Adewale raised a hand, silencing him. "That is exactly the point. You did not know it was me. You thought I was a poor man, a nobody, and you showed the world your true heart." The hall exploded into whispers, everyone pointing at Kunle, their admiration turning into disgust. Amara covered her mouth, trembling. her dream of a perfect love story shattering before her very eyes. But Chief Adewale wasn't finished. His voice grew louder, more commanding. If a man cannot respect the poor, he cannot respect my daughter. If he has no compassion for a stranger, he has no love for a wife. This engagement ends tonight. The words struck like thunder. Kunle's pride collapsed. His legs shook as guests began to move away from him, whispering insults. He looked desperately at Amara, but her eyes were filled only with betrayal and pain. And then, as the drums fell silent, everyone knew the final moment, the climax, was yet to come. The hall had never been so silent. All the laughter, the drumming, the cheerful noise of celebration had vanished into a suffocating quiet. Every eye in the grand mansion was fixed on Chief Adewale standing tall in his disguise-turned revelation, his words echoing in the minds of the guests. This engagement ends tonight. Amara stood frozen, her golden dress shimmering under the chandelier but her heart breaking inside. She stared at Kunle, the man she thought she loved, unable to recognize the person who had just insulted her father in front of everyone. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Kunle, tell me this is not true." Kunle's face was pale. Sweat dripped down his forehead. "Amara, listen, your father tricked me. He set me up. I didn't know." Chief Adewale cut him off sharply, his voice like steel. "And that is exactly why I did it. Because a man's true character shows when he thinks no one of importance is watching. What you did to me as a poor man is what you will do to my daughter when the world isn't looking." Gasps spread across the hall. Some elders nodded, others whispered angrily about Kunle's arrogance. Amara trembled, her voice breaking. "You told me you loved me, Kunle, but all this time, was it just my father's money you wanted?" Kunle reached out desperately, trying to grab her hand. "No, Amara, I do love you, but of course money matters. Look around you. This is the life I want for us." The words slipped out before he could stop himself. And in that instant, every shred of respect crumbled. The guests erupted in murmurs of disappointment. Someone hissed loudly, "Shameless man." Amara pulled her hand away as if burned. She stepped back, tears streaming freely. "Then you never loved me. You only loved what I could give you." Her knees weakened and she nearly collapsed, but suddenly a hand caught her, strong, steady, and gentle. She turned to see Chica, her childhood friend, who had quietly been serving as a waiter for the night. Unlike Kunle, Chica was simple, dressed plainly, but his eyes were filled with genuine concern. "Amara," he said softly, steadying her. "Don't cry for a man who doesn't deserve your tears." The hall buzzed again. Guests turned their attention to Chica, surprised that a waiter would step forward. Chief Adewale's eyes narrowed, studying him closely. He remembered Chica, the boy from their old neighborhood who had once carried Amara's books home from school, the one who always greeted with respect no matter his circumstances. Kunle exploded in anger, pointing at Chica. "You, a common servant? Stay away from her!" Chief Adewale's voice thundered over him. "Enough, Kunle. You have shown us who you are. Arrogant, greedy, heartless. You humiliated yourself, not me. You insulted a poor man without knowing it was me. And now you insult this young man because of his position?" The billionaire stepped closer, his gaze sharp and unyielding. "Listen well, dignity is not in wealth. Respect is not in gold. It is in how you treat those who can give you nothing in return." The hall erupted in applause. Elders nodded in approval. Younger guests pulled out their phones to capture the unforgettable moment. Kunle's face twisted with humiliation. He looked around for support, but all his friends avoided his eyes. Even his own family members bowed their heads in shame. Finally, with his pride shattered, Kunle stormed out of the hall, his footsteps echoing in the silence he left behind. Amara stood trembling, still leaning on Cheek's steady arm. Chief Adewale walked over, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. His voice softened. "My daughter, I did this not to hurt you but to protect you. I will never let you marry a man who values wealth above your heart." Amara sobbed quietly, but then she nodded, clinging to her father. The hall broke into claps of admiration, some even shouting, "Wisdom! Chief, you have wisdom." Then Chief Adewale turned his gaze toward Chiki. He studied the young man for a long moment, then spoke slowly so that everyone could hear. True love is not about riches. It is about respect, humility, and kindness. Tonight, when my daughter was broken, it was not wealth that comforted her. It was you, Chike. Remember this moment, Amara. A man who values dignity will never make you beg for love. The drums struck again. This time not with celebration, but with solemn honor. The hall echoed with cheers. Amara looked up at Cheek, her tears slowly turning into a small, grateful smile. She didn't know what the future would hold, but one thing was clear. Her father had saved her from a lifetime of misery. Chief Adewale raised his voice one last time, delivering the moral of the night. A man who despises the poor is unworthy of love. True wealth is not measured in gold, but in character. The guests erupted in thunderous applause, and as the night drew to a close, everyone knew they had witnessed a story that Lagos and the world would never forget.